Hits by the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about shaming. Body shaming, whatever shaming, right? You know what? Let's just go there. I'm a big guy. All right, cool. All right, we got that out of the way as if nobody noticed. Anyhow, but you know what, guys? This is not an excuse. This is not a any kind of justification whatsoever. Sorry, guys, this stuff is a little bit painful. No kind of justification for anything. The unfortunate is that things are what they are. But here's my main point, is that I tend to notice stuff. Like I noticed stuff today. Two things happened today that kind of drew my attention to this. And one of them being that I was going through social media and I saw a post by a celebrity, and the post had an 80-year-old man or something like that, and one was all chiseled up, you know, all cut, buffed, worked like he worked out and stuff. Personally, I thought it was a Photoshop. It looked Photoshop to me, you know. The skin on his body, not that I was checking him out, I'm just saying the skin on his body did not match, you know, the age of his face. But hey, it is what it is. Then next to it was a picture of a man that said he was 80 years old or whatever it was, right? And the bottom read, or the celebrity said something like that. It goes, both of these men are 80. It's your choice to do whatever you want to do, right? How you choose to live your life. And I saw that and I was like, well, you know, okay, I guess, you know, I mean, he's into health and stuff and live longer, right? So I read the first comment, one of the first comments at the time that I saw it said something to the, and I'm paraphrasing there, you know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing through all this. It said something to the effect of like, how dare you shame these people, you know, you don't know if that other guy, you know, the man in the wheelchair or like just sitting down being, you know, just elderly, right? You don't know if he's ill, if he has a disease, you know, or some kind, he's just ill of something, you know, and how dare you shame him that way, you know, and it kind of brought me into perspective. I was like, whoa, like, okay, like, I'm not saying I'm looking for any justification. I'm just saying it just kind of brought my attention, like, whoa, you know, we're so gun-ho about, hey, you know, live longer and stay healthy. Well, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, right? And again, it's not a cop-out, guys. I get it, you know, and people are going to give you that. I get it, you know. There's people such as myself who have fluctuated with weight. Like, I've lost a lot of weight, you know what I mean? And then it's like you gain it back and so on and so forth. But I'm going to be very transparent and personal about it. That there's one thing about me that I've noticed, that I lose the weight, but I'm not your typical person. If I eat one hamburger, it's like, there goes 20 pounds. It's like, what the heck? Like, or 12 pounds. I'm like, are you serious? Like, You know, I have gone for walks. You know, I can't right now at the time due to personal situations, but ridden bikes, gone for long walks. I mean, really dedicated myself to that. You know, unfortunately, I had a circumstance happen where I can't do that at this point in time. But still, even then, it was very difficult to keep the weight off, right? And again, guys, it's not an excuse. I understand it takes hard dedication and a lot of willpower, right? Anyhow, with that said, I also I had to go take care of some stuff today, and as I was leaving, there was a local person where I'm at that was really strung out on drugs, and always saw this person walk around town and you know, and all this stuff. And then a couple of months ago, I seen this person again, and they had cleaned up their act, you know. And I was like, hey, good for you, you know. Hey, all right, you know, that's good, you know. Unfortunately, today, I saw this person back in the same old situation, right? Now, with that, I say all that to say this. See, it's easy for somebody to sit there if your metabolism is just great, if you can eat and eat and eat and eat. Well, I can't gain weight. There's people that suffer from that. There's people that suffer by eating, like I said, you eat one hamburger or whatever, and it's just like 12 pounds go on. And it's easy for somebody to be like, hey, well, you know what, just, you know, get off your fat tail, man. Stop being lazy. Start doing this, start doing that, you know, and this and this and that. Okay, granted, okay. But what works for you may not work for them. Prepping meals, so on and so forth. All these things, at the end of the day, you got to find your niche, right? And again, it's not an excuse, guys. My main point to this is not about weight and stuff like that. I'm just using that as an example. What I'm getting at, and again, guys, it's not a cop out. It's an addiction. People do not understand that. It's easy for somebody to say, hey, man, get off that dope. Get off that. Stop drinking that alcohol, man. See, but we fail to understand that those people have a problem. It's easier said, way easier said than done. Now, going into other stuff, when you go to the doctor, say for example, you go to the doctor because let me use just a blatant dumb excuse, right? But just for the sake of the matter, I'm gonna not to pinpoint anything. Like, say for example, you broke your finger, right? You go to the doctor. You happen to be a heavy-set person. First thing doctor says, well, you know what? It's also due to your weight. Really? You know, I understand they're concerned about health and what, so on and so forth, right? But now it's like, okay, wait a minute. Like, so you're saying that because of my weight, this is gonna take time to heal, or whatever the situation is. You can do the math and put it all together. This is what ends up happening now in a lot of places, where you pretty much get a backdoor insult. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about not just in weight. I'm talking about anything. I have a very good friend of mine who went through some stuff in his life, and he and I we've talked about that. He, myself, and a couple of other people, we've talked about it. And we saw another friend of ours going through some addiction. And I reached out to this person and I told him, hey man, like, you need to get off of that. You know, you get off of that, and I'll get vulgar with them a little bit. But see, again, that's easy for me to say, hey, just get off of that, right? But my friend that had suffered through that has told me, like, hey Fred, listen, dude, he needs to be ready, bro. He needs to want it, you know. And that's where it becomes the issue that a lot of people do not understand, that this is a very serious problem, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or even food. Sweets. I am not a sweet tooth kind of guy. I'll tell you guys right now. Because I've had people say, yo, well, a fat kid loves cake, and they, look at me like, no, I'm not into that, bro. Like, no. But anyhow, that's beside the point. That's what I mean by that. When people just kind of body shame somebody, or pick them out for their flaws, or what society considers to be a flaw, right? But at the end of it all, too, guys, we could want people to do stuff for themselves, or think about your kids, or think about your family, think about your mom, think about your dad, whatever your situation is, right? But that person has to really want it, has to really be ready for it, right? It's like anything you do in life. If you really want it, you really want to achieve that, you really want to change that, you are gonna go for it head on, gun ho, right? Because you're tired of your lifestyle, or you're tired of living the way you're living, whatever it may be. Right, so I've dealt with it in the school situations with students, to where, for example, they probably feel like, well, I'm kind of pushing for them to get them to motivate, but sometimes they don't want it. I end up wanting it more than they do, and that's where the mistake lays. Because then, then it starts to get personal, to where it's not supposed to get to that. You're supposed to get them enough to have them want it more than you do, right? That helps out the whole situation. And that's where we lay, People don't understand. I see my 600-pound life. I've seen that old show before, stuff. And yeah, it's easy to sit there and chuckle and maybe get motivated and be like, man, I need to change, or whatever, as far as weight stuff. And you see these people kind of slip and start eating all this stuff, and you're like, man, we sit there and judge and laugh or whatnot, right? Let's be real. Let's be real about it. We sit there and laugh. We get a kick out of that. As human beings, we get a kick out of that, right? We may not want to see an animal get hurt on TV or in movies and stuff, but we get a kick out of watching people hurt themselves. That's what it is. So, I mean, to me, it's like, man, I just see, I see somebody, I'm like, man, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's even hard for me to see, as a heavyset person. It's hard for me to sometimes understand that, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, bro, you're supposed to be on a diet. This doctor did this and this. It's easier said than done when you're looking from the outside in, right? We fail to understand. It's an addiction. And it may sound stupid. It may sound ignorant. It may sound like a cop-out. It may sound like some form of justification. It may sound like whatever you want it to be, but it's not. And I'm here not just, again, it goes with anything. Alcoholism, drugs, weight, whatever. There's people addicted to pretty wild things out there. I'll just put it to you like that. And that's not cool. It's a mental thing that happens. Sometimes it's a thing to where, and I'll be very transparent with you. Sometimes it's hard, because sometimes you say to yourself, man, I'm gonna be very transparent. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna expose myself to the world. There's times I'll eat something and I'll be like, damn. After, it's like I'm kicking myself in the butt. I'm beating myself up mentally. Like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? It's hard to deal with sometimes. And I'm not saying, I'm a big old fat butt and just like, you know, as people like to put it, like, you're just going all crazy, eating everything in sight. No, dude, no, that's relax. Let's be honest. Let's be real about it. Don't do that to people. You know what I mean? You want to help somebody out. You literally want to help them out. You don't sit there and be, oh, you know, you just stuffing your fat face and like, no, bro. You know, I mean, that's just what it is. And I've known people who had addictions to alcohol and again to drugs, and they told me the same thing. You know, and again, we all gotta want it. I've been trying so hard, and I get on the wagon, fall off the wagon, so on and so forth, as people like that. Like I said, but what world are we living in, though, to where I understand if a friend wants to help you out and they're being honest about it, and I get it, love and due respect to everybody who's trying to help somebody out genuinely because they want to see somebody be healthy, somebody be, you know, live longer and so on and so forth. I get it. I get it, guys. That's without a doubt. I've been there. I've been there for friends of mine who I love dearly to this day, and friends that I've lost in this world due to drugs, due to alcohol, right? And friends who have recovered. I love and respect them. I genuinely love these people, man. They're my friends, right? But I also got to keep in mind that it's like, it's almost like they're like zombies in a sense, or vampires when they're at their worst. They're no longer the people you know when you're trying to reach out to them. You know, they're not the people that you know. They're, for lack of a better word or whatnot, they're vampires, zombies or whatnot. It's not them anymore at this point, right? But with that also, we got to hope for the best and hope that they want it more than you do. More, you know what I mean? That they have grown tired of being that way, that they want to change. You know, and that's where we're at. That's how I tend to look at it personally. I just think it's sad that some people don't get it. It's sad that some people just could sit there and be like, well, you know, my life is perfect and I'm in shape and I have money and I have this and I have that and I have that. Yeah, but you're a piece of, you know what, dude. At the end of the day, you could have all that. It's a facade. You yourself are a piece of, you know what, dude. Bottom line, have some empathy. Try to understand. Get into this person's head. Try to understand where they're coming from with it. Because again, it's easy from the outside looking in. Right? That's really it, guys. That's just the bottom line, man. I wish we could all change the world to how we would want it as a perfect world. And it'd be great. Well, you know what? Let me go into something else here real quick before I go on. You know how sad it is, and I'm gonna say it because I didn't say this before. If you look at the beginning of this podcast, the last picture, I'm in a picture with John Densmore of the Doors. I had lost a lot of weight. I was under 300 pounds at that point. I had lost a lot of weight in that picture. The very last picture that shows right before I come into the podcast. And a lot of people didn't take notice. And when I see old pictures of myself, I said, man, I wasn't even big. And people always label you that. Because people always see you big. No matter what it is. That's how messed up we are. That's how messed up society is. They see you a certain way. They have a certain look. You know what I mean? They cannot even acknowledge any kind of change in you because they've always seen you how they pretend to see you. Because, again, when I've seen old pictures of myself of being younger, I wasn't that big, and yet I was still labeled as, oh, you know, you're big, da, 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 da. It's pretty pathetic. Change it up, people. You guys want to help somebody out? You guys want to change the world, make it a better place? step it up, man. Step it up to that. Go up to bat for them and make that change for them. You know what I mean? Help them, guide them. With that, this is Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, signing out.